Hi, Barbara Grassey, the Book Boss here, and welcome to the first of our three-part video training, You Can Write Your Book. First question I want to ask you to make sure you're in the right place is, do you actually need a book? Well, are you a coach, a trainer, a consultant, or a speaker? Do you want to gain authority and exposure? Or are you being out-marketed by people who know less than you do? I hate when that happens. So if you answered yes to any of these, then of course, yes, you need a book, and you probably know that already. I can help. I'm an author, editor, speaker. I also am a book coach. I help other people write their books. And over the past 10 years, I've written over 50 books, ebooks, manuals, and courses. So here's a look at some of the things that I've done over the past few years. I've done a lot of courses and manuals in the business sector, motivation, real estate, opportunity sector. I've worked with people who are leaders in their field in getting their books out and expanding their reach. So I work with busy professionals, people who are working full-time in their business, and sometimes they're building a second business. They're people with busy families, people who travel extensively, especially my national speakers are always on the road, and people who literally work 24/7, 365. So in short, I work with people who don't have time to write a book. Let me talk to you about what a book can do for you. And I just love pulling up Brene Brown because she really was a PhD social worker and a researcher. She was not out there speaking. She was not somebody who said, I'm going to write a book and become famous. She was a researcher, and she wrote a couple of research papers which led to a book. And that book led to her doing a TEDx talk and then a second TED talk. Those talks led to other books, which led to Oprah for her Super Soul Sunday, which of course leads to a phenomenon. Now, not everybody gets on Oprah, of course, but this is just an extreme example of what can happen. And really what has happened out of that is that she now has courses and CDs and trainings and certifications to show people what she knows and to help other professionals, other social workers, expand her work and spread the message of what she does. So how do you get this all done? How do you get that first book started and get things rolling? And the first thing is you can either find the time or you can make the time. Time is elastic. It can expand to what you need, and sometimes it just flies right away. So you really need to be conscious of your time. So finding time, you do have pockets of slack time. Maybe you're waiting at the doctor's office or you're waiting in that school line picking the kids up. There is wasted time. I am the queen of wasted time, and I will put things like playing video games, playing games on your computer or you're on your phone, spending time on Facebook when you're not doing work-related stuff on there. Huge waste of time. Taking breaks. Sometimes when you're working a regular job, if you're a W-2 employee, you get breaks every day, whether it's a lunch break or that 10 or 15-minute coffee break that you get every day. That's time you can spend working on your book. And you know, anytime you're watching a rerun of any show, please, you're wasting time. If you've seen the show more than twice, okay, unless you're watching The Princess Bride, which of course we can watch forever and again, if you're watching the second or third or fourth rerun of a sitcom that you've seen, you're wasting time. Get to work. So there's lots of time available. You can also make time. You can get up earlier or go to bed later. I am not a get up earlier person, but if you're a morning person, that's a great way to get time in before the rest of the household wakes up. Schedule an appointment with yourself. One of the things I do is every Tuesday from 2 to 5 o'clock, I meet with a writing buddy. And we write. We sit there, we get out of our environments, and we are there to write. And usually we'll talk for the first half hour, but then we get down to writing. So whether you get a writing buddy or you just schedule an appointment with yourself, you can make that time available to yourself. You can outsource a time-consuming job, and you can particularly outsource any repetitive time-consuming job. Or you can temporarily cut out an activity. We all have certain activities we like to do, but if it comes down to actually moving your business ahead and writing a book, can you cut out an activity for a few months and then go back to it? You're not cutting it out forever, just while you're writing your book. You know, the other thing you can do is clone yourself. Such an attractive little girl. You can outsource various aspects of your book. You can outsource the research. You can actually outsource the writing, of course. You can outsource the editing, and I do actually tell people that they should outsource the editing because you do need a fresh set of eyes looking over your work, and you can outsource the publishing process. But you also need to devote some real time to the book. You know, as much as people say, hey, you can catch pockets of time, you can do it in little snippets, you do have to dedicate some real time to planning and preparation. And actually the planning and preparation phase really sets you up for success. So I really hammer on people that they need to devote some real time to planning and preparation. You need to do some research, outlining. The writing itself works better in chunks of time. And of course, your final edit really needs to be done fairly straight through. So meet bits and chunks. As you can tell, I'm a chocolate fan. So bits are just small pieces of time that are grabbed here and there as you can. And then chunks of time are the times that you actually set aside. You make appointments with yourself. You set out a time block to focus on your book. And then it all comes together in a beautiful chocolate swirl. So here's an example. Doing your book outline. You can do some of it in bits. You can brainstorm ideas. You can surf Amazon to see what the competition is doing. Check out the books there. You can Google keywords for your niche. But now you're going to need chunks of time too. So maybe 2 to 3 hours max where you collect all those bits, all those brainstorming ideas, all the materials that you may already have, and you sit and you organize your outline. That's going to take a small chunk of time. So who's got time to write a book? Why not just hire it out? Well, here's the thing. Even if you're hiring out your book, it's going to take around at least 30 or more hours of your time. So you can outsource your book to a ghostwriter. You're going to spend at least 6 to 8 hours organizing what you want in your book. You're going to spend time finding your outsourcer. That's at least 3 hours of time because you're going to have to advertise, come up with the ad. You're going to have to sort through resumes and check everybody's references, check their work. You're going to spend at least a dozen hours supervising, reading, suggesting, and making edits. And then the publishing aspect of it is about 8 hours of time. You need to find your cover artist. You need to hire someone to do the layout or do the layout yourself. So there's a lot of time involved even if you outsource your book to a ghostwriter. So do you have 30 hours over the next 90 days? Well, that's about 20 minutes a day. So yeah, you probably do have that. Except, here's the reality check. It doesn't quite work that way. I'm sorry. You still need to dedicate chunks of time to organize your material, review it, and then get it published. Not to mention, the downside to outsourcing. The book might not sound like you when it's done. That's a big problem. People will know that you didn't write your own book. Ghostwriters don't usually have your depth of knowledge, so it's going to take them longer and be more expensive for them to do it, plus they're going to miss things. You'll probably want rewrites, and that's going to take some more time. Ghostwriters are expensive. One of the things you need to know is you get what you pay for with a ghostwriter. Expect to pay anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 for a ghostwriter. And then some people pay for a package. They get the ghostwriting, the editing, the layout, the cover design, and the publishing all done up as a package. And you know, I ended up rewriting a book for a gentleman who had paid $14,000 for a packager to edit his book, lay it out, and publish it. So they weren't even writing the book. They were just editing and laying it out and publishing it. Well, they sent it to me because the book was just a mess. The editors I don't know if the editors even read his book. It was filled with typos, grammatical, and punctuation errors. The layout was a mess. There's things called widows and orphans. That's when you leave a line all by itself at the bottom of a page, or like there's a heading at the bottom of the page and then the body of what comes under the heading is on the next page. They had left widows and orphans, which is one of the most basic rules of layout, all over the book. And his consultant that he was working with said, listen, we can't let the book go out like this. It's embarrassing. It's going to make him look like an idiot. And they ended up paying me another $4,000 to edit his book, fixing all the errors, rewriting, and I actually had to restructure the book. And then he found a reputable layout designer and cover artist for another $1,000. So the man paid basically $19,000 to get his book done, because he had paid $14,000 to a packager who didn't do their job. That's expensive. It's not just expensive in dollars, but it was expensive in the fact that he had to go back and redo it. He lost a lot of time. So there's no point in spending time and money, especially if the odds are that you're going to be disappointed in the results. So if you have 30 hours to outsource your book, you probably have an extra 20 hours over 90 days, and that's just a few extra minutes per session. What I do is my system shows you how to write your book in 50 short hours. First of all, I have you speak or write your book. So it's going to take maybe about 5 hours of organizing your outline, 6 to 8 hours of talking your book, 30 hours in rewriting and editing. It's all in the rewriting and editing, let me tell you right now. And then about 7 to 8 hours of laying out your book, finding a cover artist, and uploading to your publisher. About 50 hours. Since you're already spending 30 hours to hire it out, an extra 20 hours is real easy. So 50 hours over 90 days is just over half an hour a day. Or a couple of hours every few days, because really we're not going to be disciplined enough to spend half an hour a day writing, are we? We know that we don't exercise those days that we're supposed to exercise. So pretty much, yes, you're going to want a couple of hours every few days. And here's what it would look like. And one of the things I wanted to show you, because I thought, people like to start a diet on Mondays. They think they're going to exercise on Mondays. You can try to work on a Monday. The thing I've noticed is most people, especially business owners, are really busy on Mondays. And that's why I put that first little X there for that first Monday. You see, after that, we work Tuesdays. That's because Mondays are usually crazy for people. So you want to set yourself up for success. If you're using days that you know you can carve out the time, then you can take a couple of hours a day and work and just get your stuff done. I like Tuesdays. It seems to work for me. Tuesday afternoons in particular, I can carve out a couple of hours. On the weekends, you might be able to carve out a few more hours. So maybe on a Saturday or a Sunday, you take 2 to 3 hours. I like working 3 hours at a clip on the weekends. It's just easier for me. So the first month, you might spend 21 hours working on your book. The second month about 16, and the third month about 14. Because in the third month, you're going to be sending your book out to have it laid out, to have the cover work done. You're not really going to be writing so much as getting the publishing aspect of it done. Now here's the downside to writing your own book. It takes just a little bit more time, and it does take some discipline and organization. And fortunately, my system helps you with all of that. Now on the upside, you can write your book in about the same amount of time it would take a ghostwriter to write it. A ghostwriter is going to take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks and probably longer. You can outsource portions of it, which will save you time. You're going to save thousands of dollars by writing it yourself. And the book will sound like you, not some stuffy academic or a non-native English speaker. And most of all, you can proudly state that you wrote your own book. And believe me, people ask, did you really write your book? Yes, I did. And you don't have to dodge and you don't have to lie. You wrote the book. And that is one of the greatest accomplishments that anyone can have. 81% of people say they want to write a book someday, but 9 out of 10 people can't complete the book. That's why I came up with my system. I had so many people who wanted to get their book done. I couldn't work with all of them in person, but I found a way to let them all know how to do this. So what would a book do for you? We've seen what it's done for Brené Brown. Using my system, I've shown hundreds of people how to write their book, from simple ebooks to their flagship authority book. I actually helped a guy write an ebook that ended up bringing him millions of dollars worth of investment money. And really, the ebook was designed to sell his home study course. And the people read the ebook, they liked it so much, they said, listen, we don't actually want to learn how to do this. Can we just give you the money to invest? And he said, sure. So sometimes the result is unexpected. You might get a different result from your book than what you expected, and yet it's all good. So my system makes it easy for anyone to write a book, quickly, painlessly, inexpensively. So what's stopping you? Well, we know it's not time. We just saw that you can carve out 30 to 50 hours over the next 90 days without really sacrificing your lifestyle. So time is not your enemy, but procrastination is. My question to you: what would authoring a book do for you and your business? Would it lead to more speaking engagements? Would it help your current clients? Would it be something that they could use to help them in their work? Could it be a marketing tool to attract clients or investors? Would it increase your authority, your visibility, and your credibility in the field? Well, yeah. A lot of people, let's talk about credibility, reach a stopping point when it comes down to writing their book because they're saying, who am I to write a book? I don't know if I know enough to write a book. I don't know if I'm famous enough or important enough to write a book. Well, yeah, you are. And in our next video, I'm going to show you why you, yeah, you, are more than capable of writing your book and why you should write a book. So thanks very much for listening in. We're glad to have you here, and stay tuned. In just another day or so, you're going to get a link to our next video that will show you why you are the perfect person to write your book.